Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm down at the Harris Chain in sunny Florida, kind of taking this all in. I just wrapped up my tournament on Sam Rayburn, but now I'm doing a little pre-practice, doing a little recon, trying to figure out what's exactly going on over here at the Harris Chain. I'm doing a lot of idling, looking offshore, trying to find that hydrilla, eelgrass. I want to do some Lowrance tips here, show you guys what I'm looking for. All right, let's take a look. So like right there, when you see that, that's hydrilla. So you can see there's the bottom, and then those hard, tall pieces there. We're in, what are we in, 7 foot of water or so, and that's the hydrilla. That's big, bright. The other stuff you'll see is shorter, and that'll be eelgrass, and I'll show you some of that as we go along. If I go back here in time, you can see that's some hydrilla on the side scan. So you can actually see the outside edge of it. If you follow along that edge, it goes right there, coming along, goes in, out, in. And those points and stuff like that are where you're gonna find those fish set up on. So I like to put waypoints on one end and the other, and just kind of mark those tips. It really kind of helps you find a lot of those fish. You can see, click there. I have it as one of my presets for grass. Comes up with that grass icon. I've been here a bunch of times now, so you have to change the color of your icon each time you come here. Otherwise, you'll end up with a mess of waypoints. You can see like out there, I got all sorts of waypoints from last time, and that grass isn't growing there at all anymore. It's gone. But I used like green that year. Now I'm using gray this year, just to kind of mix it up, and that way I can keep a better eye on what's going on. Here we go. You can actually see a couple fish right there. See the white, bright white there, bright white. There's a couple there. That's just some stuff on the bottom. There's some short hydrilla. Then you can see actually an underwater point as well. That's right here, and you can just tell that it's not grass itself. It's actually the bottom's different. It's sitting a little bit higher. Another group of fish offshore. They could be bass, they could be crappie, catfish, I'm not sure. A lot of times you have to actually fish for them to figure out what they are, but typically the bass, unless there's a hard spot out there, some shell or something like that, they're not going to typically be bass. They want to be around that hydrilla and other types of grass. Here you can see it's just kind of barren down there. I have my settings on 100 feet to each side. If you don't know, this is the middle of your boat, so that's where your transducer is. That's the bottom, so it's the same spot on the bottom, but then that shoots out to the left, that shoots out to the right. Just some general tips there. And then the same thing where that bottom is the same as the down scan. Those little dots there that are not connected to the bottom, those are just little fish there, and there's one. But there's a lot of times I'm just going to be scanning around out here, going nice and slow. If it's an area I think that has potential to have hydrilla, that's what I do. And this changes year to year. Like I said, some years it's growing out in 12 foot, some years it's up shallow. This year it does seem to be a little bit shallower. Let's see, I'm out there. Here's your 2D. It's kind of the same as your down scan. You can see if I go one unit to the next. One other thing I like to do is, we'll do this here. I'll run around at like 20, 30 miles an hour and just cruise and just keep my eye on my 2D here, because this is glassed in through the hole, so it'll actually read while I'm running at 20, 30, 40 miles an hour, and I'll look for an area that has more hydrilla. So like if I go through a strip like how I'm in a dead area right now, doesn't seem to be a whole lot of hydrilla around. That's when I'll start cruising around, just checking. Same thing with those offshore spots I told you it wasn't at. I didn't even slow down to idle it. I just cruised through it 1 or 2 times at 30 miles an hour, covered the area. And if you don't see that grass, it's not there. The hydrilla especially really stands out. The eelgrass on Harris Chain seems to grow a little bit shallower. A lot of times it's right off that semi-edge like that. So you can find it that way. Those fish like to get in there when they're pre-spawn and post-spawn. I think they even spawn in it a little bit, it seems like, from the previous years. We're going to work our way in this little pocket. Sometimes they like to grow in these little shallower pockets where like semi-grass kind of meets up with then some cypress trees. You can see on the side scan there. So that's actually that, we're coming across that eelgrass now. So that, you can see right there, See how it looks different than that really thick hydrilla did? So you can see the eelgrass line, and if you follow right along that edge, you can actually mark it all. So it comes out into almost a point, that eelgrass, and that's good. A lot of times I'll just put marks right down this edge of it. I'll use a different symbol for eelgrass. I usually use that shorter one, and I'll put it right on the edge, and I'll do all of it like that, so you can see it kind of makes the point itself, so then I know where to cast. And then you can see the transition, which is kind of cool, from the eelgrass, which was this, to hydrilla, which is taller, thicker, denser. Right there you can see there's a really cool patch of it. That's like chunky. That's good stuff right there. I'll definitely make sure I put a waypoint down on that. And then you can see as we get closer to that Kissimmee grass, which is right here, it kind of blends in with that eelgrass as well. Kind of all comes together. And then you can see it on the 2D over there. That's what I was telling you before. There's the eelgrass. That's the hydrilla. And just kind of looking around, there's a little piece of wood that's down there. You can see that right here. Sometimes there's actually lay down trees that float out here or whatever. I have a bunch of them marked. Haven't done a whole lot on them, but I don't usually take a ton of time to fish them. Might be a mistake. Might be something I should be putting a little more time into. But right now you can see the whole bottom's covered. It's scattered. That's probably a little bit of hydrilla right there. That's a eelgrass. The eelgrass has kind of got that little lighter color to it. Right there is a chunk of hydrilla, and actually has like some sand down in there. That's kind of cool. So like that's one of those things that you throw a waypoint on, and you make a couple casts at it, and it can be one of those little just special hard spots that have some fish on it. I usually will do that with a different symbol. I'll probably use an X and then put just like sand in hydrilla. Just put a little note in there, just like this. You can type notes in these. It's very helpful because I'll come back and I'll not remember everything. You look at so many of them. And change it. I like to use yellow. So do that. Keep going. See some more good stuff along here. Keep working our way down. Some settings here. I found I just came from Rayburn where I had it at the contrast. It was at +3 or +2 actually, and when I got here everything was really washed out. So like if you look at this, it really washes it out. You can't see a whole lot. When I was looking for those hard spots at Rayburn, that helped, but here I found you have to actually back it down to like A -3, and then I've been going back and forth. If you guys have watched many of these, I like 9 and 8. 8 actually doesn't look all that great here. Some places it works a lot better. Like Rayburn, I really liked it. So you can kind of play with this, figure out which one works best for you. Oh, excuse me. Here's some more of that. That's actually a hydrilla that comes out too. You can see that's taller. Put another waypoint down. That's when I was telling you I have that saved key. And these are cool. I don't know if you've ever used these presets, but you can actually hold them down. If you hold it, you can set them to what you want to be. It's a neat little kind of setup. I'll go over this sometime and do a whole video on it, but it's really helpful. Those shortcut keys. And I'll change those depending on where I'm at. Sometimes I'll use it as rocks. Sometimes like down here it's more grass related. Just depends on the lake you're at. It just makes it easier than have to hit your flag button to kind of scroll through it all each time. So let's go. You can see out here I have a bunch of waypoints marked from the past. I'm gonna go. I checked a little bit of this earlier. There was some out here, not a ton. We'll head out a little bit further. Up here you can see I have my speed, my structure depth, my voltage supply. So when you're idling, it actually gets up a little bit higher when you got that motor running. Then the actual is 12 volts. We got our time, which is very important. You don't want to be late checking in the tournament. You can see the water is 56.6, so kind of cold for Florida. I woke up this morning, boat was just covered in frost, windshield was frozen. You don't get that down south too often, it doesn't seem like. So that was interesting. There's some more eelgrass. And this is color palette 13. That's my favorite one. It kind of gives you a really good like bottom look, and then you can decipher where it's coming up. So that's the eelgrass there. Come over here, you can see more short eelgrass, and then that is it on the side scan. Not a whole lot of it out here, but just got to put our time in, do a lot of idling. I'm going to check out each of the lakes, try to kind of get them all dialed in, figure out which one I want to fish during the tournament, and go from there. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions about the Harris chain, you can look back on previous years. I have videos from fish catches and all that. It should be a good event. It'll be the first week of, I think the second week of March. I think it's March 8th or something like that we start. It's a little bit different. We start on a Sunday instead of a Thursday, so it's Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, Wednesday. So thanks for watching. If you have any more questions, put them in the comments below, and do me a huge favor, and please subscribe. Thanks.